No, I think it felt pretty natural.
That's the best I hope for.
I think it felt a little effortless, and I
Good.
was a little concerned that it wouldn't be.
All right.
So I'll say that.
Welcome to the Front Porch with Brian Beaudry.
I'd like to welcome today's guest, one of our consultants here at Point of Rental, Luis Cruz. Luis, welcome to the Front Porch.
Thank you, Brian. How's it going?
It's going well. Let's start off with the basic questions, which are who are you, where are you from, and what would be the scariest place to be lost?
Well, Luis Cruz from Phoenix, Arizona. And before you ask, yes, it is hot.
Okay.
Don't ever go in the summer.
Yes.
Scariest place to be lost in. I kind of want to say your mind, but I'll make it more,
Okay.
physical.
We don't have to get meta. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I would say a cave.
Okay. Why a cave?
There's nothing to guide yourself to get out of that cave. Like, you don't have the sun, you don't have the stars,
Yeah.
and there's really probably no resources in a cave for you
True.
to survive. So,
And who knows how many bats? I mean,
I didn't even think about that, but yes, that does add to that layer.
yeah, it's like there's no good way to be lost in a cave, I think.
Yeah, because at least in the forest, you can figure it out.
Yeah.
Find a little bit of water.
Trees are friendly, right?
Yep.
They give you air. And it's like, all right, you could maybe eventually chop a tree down or something. They provide a little shelter. Other things feed on them, so there's
Exactly.
probably some food related there.
Exactly. But in a
But yeah.
cave, you're yeah.
And it's just dark.
Yeah, exactly.
And if there is a bat, then it's just gonna probably just like run into you, and you have no idea that it's coming. And it's like, oh no. Okay, I think you got the correct answer on that one.
Okay.
If anyone else out there has other scary places that they think it's more scary than a cave, then let us know in the comments. Luis, what did you want to be when you were a kid? Whenever you remember first having the answer to what do you want to be when you grow up?
So when I was a kid, it was a toss-up between astronaut or race car driver.
Okay, so you just really liked the cool helmets, or what was it?
I would say anything that I could go fast in.
Oh, okay, that's probably that
Yes.
probably makes more sense.
Yes.
I was picturing you as a kid and you just have like this helmet, and you're like, look.
No, it was more so like anything I could go fast in. Like,
Okay, so how long? Which one were you into for longer?
I think they were both about the same. I would say, race car kind of went out the window around middle school because I started realizing how much that actually cost.
Okay.
And at the time, I wasn't really surrounded by anybody who was in that world, so
Yeah.
I didn't even know where to turn. So
That's
I was
true.
like,
That makes it a little harder.
and obviously there is no trust fund in my family, so
I was hoping that it was going to come down to a story of like, I was in middle school, happened to take the car. Family did
no,
not
actually,
like that.
it was because of that I wanted to be a race car driver. Yeah, that's first time I got behind the wheel was at 12. My dad trying to give me a driving lesson, to which at that point in time, all I knew about racing was what I did in video games.
Mhm.
Didn't quite really understand how sensitive a gas pedal could be.
Yes.
And I, not knowing any better, floored it.
Yeah, I was going to say, how did this go for your dad? Because
Exactly. Exactly. I floored it. We took off. My dad's like, stop. And once again, not knowing the sensitivity,
yeah,
slam on the brakes. Unfortunately, I did everything so fast, my dad never got a chance to put on his seatbelt.
ooh,
So he had to catch himself from flying through the windshield. And I wasn't allowed to touch a car for a couple of years.
yeah. I was going to say that'll
Yes.
put a damper on it.
Yes.
Uh,
So,
okay, well, yeah, I can see that in like video games, you don't really get that whole sensation of the.
yeah, there's no G-force in video games.
All right, well, fun lesson learned early on.
I don't know if my dad would say that, but sure.
Well, was it fun for you? I guess that's the important part.
Makes a fun story now.
Yeah,
At the
exactly.
time, I wasn't too happy about being grounded, but
That's fair.
you know.
Okay, so and Astronaut, I assume you did not have a similar story where you got to go on a spaceship as a youth, or did you?
Oh, I wish, but no, it actually came down to when I got to high school, realizing I don't love advanced math.
Yeah, I've heard there's a lot of math.
Plenty of it, and I like math to a certain point, and that's what I realized.
I like math, but I don't like it.
I like math. I don't love math. There you go. Like,
Okay.
and I realized how much math was involved, and I was like, yeah, I should probably do something else.
Okay.
So
So what do you go into from there then? Your dreams are already dead. You're like you're in high school. Childhood dream already gone. So where do you pick up the pieces and go to next?
well, honestly, I was just kind of trying to figure it out, you know. Had a couple pit stops here and there, and somehow I ended up in rental.
Okay. Well, there's got to be more than a somehow. How did you end up in rental?
I would say timing.
Okay.
I would go with that.
I think your notes said that you had like a temp position that got you put in rental. So were you working at a temp agency, or how was?
So as I was trying to kind of figure out what I wanted to do, early 20s, still
Yeah.
like, what the heck, you know, no family, no nothing. So I had no responsibility. So I had the freedom to just kind of like, oh, let me try that. Let me try that. Let me try that. See what I like.
Yeah.
And it happened to be that it was the end of December, and the company that I was at the time gave us the last 2 weeks off.
Okay.
So the last 2 weeks of December, we were like, that was vacation time. Nobody's coming to work.
Yeah.
And the week before that vacation started, I got a call from an agency who I had spoken to like more than a year ago. I had totally forgotten that I had even,
Yeah.
you know, done anything, like tried interviewing with them at all. They called me up and said, hey, there's this position. It's 2 weeks. You're going to be pushing papers. After 2 weeks, you're done. And like, that's it. Like, there's no opportunity or anything. Like, it's literally just 2
Yeah.
weeks and you're done. I said, perfect. Like, I
Yeah.
would much rather go make money
Yeah. It's like, well,
than sit at home,
Yeah.
not doing anything. I mean, I probably would have ended up playing video games for the entire 2 weeks, to be honest. But so yeah, then 2 weeks turned into 3. 3 turned into 4. To then it was, hey, by the way, we have this position open. Are you interested?
Okay.
At the time, the only interaction that I had with equipment was like moving equipment, because the part of, you know, trying to figure out what I wanted to do was,
Yeah.
I ended up at a couple different job sites doing a couple different things, and part of it sometimes was having to jump into some type of equipment and, you know, either move it or do something. But
Yeah.
and that's about as much exposure as I had to that.
Okay. So you mentioned that it turns into 3 weeks and 4 weeks,
Yes.
but this other job, you only had like 2 weeks off. So what's happening at the start of the new year?
So I have a tough conversation, and I pretty much say, hey, look, you know what? They're extending this
Yeah.
temp, you know, position, and they are paying me a little bit more. Like, can I just, you know, finish this off?
Yeah.
And luckily, the person I was working for was like, yeah, no, like, you know what? Don't worry about it. Like, it's a slow start to the year, so like, we'll be okay.
Cool. So what was it about those 2 weeks that made you, well, first it sounds like at least it was the pay.
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
100% now.
So was there anything else that I know I've talked to a lot of people and they mentioned like getting the rental bug. Do you have the rental bug, or is it just it's fun?
I think I developed it
Okay.
through. So I would say that I've been very fortunate in the rental industry to be surrounded by people that have taken the time to teach me, take me under their wing, and really kind of help me, I guess, build my skills pretty much. Like,
Mm-hmm.
which I know doesn't happen for everybody. So I've been fortunate in that sense where I point blank told them when they offered me which at the time was just processing certificates of insurance for a rental company. Like,
Yeah.
that was that was all I was gonna do. Like there was nothing else that I had to do.
That does sound like paper pushing. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. But from that, once again, going back to just being fortunate enough to be surrounded by people that were like, hey, you know what? Do you want to learn this? Do you want to learn this? Do you want to learn this? Do you want? And I just kept saying yes and yes and yes and yes. And eventually I went from the back end of rental, which was all, credit applications, certificates of insurance, receivables, like all the back end stuff, pre-liens, all of that. And then I got a shot at going more operations. And I would say that's really where I was like, you know what? I like this. I like the operation side.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
that was when you were like, all right, I found my spot. This is where I'm good.
yeah, I would say so because it was, I would say it was more critical thinking and less paper pushing.
Yeah.
And I would say that's what kind of got me the bug. You know,
you got to actually engage your brain instead of just being like, yeah, I'm very easily replaceable. This is just doing a thing to get money.
I was no longer calling people asking them for money. Now I was part of a team who was actually spending money. So the greetings and the conversations were completely different.
That's
people actually wanted to pick up the phone when I called. Now that I was on the operations side.
Okay, I see.
So yeah, it was that really was like, you know what, I like it. So
okay, and how long were you in operations in the rental industry?
So a little over 3 years. It was primarily fleet that I was in. But once again, going back to being given the opportunity to kind of branch out, I had taken the time also to spend time at a branch and learn what a branch does and, be with the counter guys, be with the dispatch guys, just kind of take in as much as possible pretty much.
Yeah.
And then I started spending more time with them once I was on the fleet side. So it just, like, it's going back to that, like, critical thinking, like, how do I solve this problem?
Yeah.
It's no longer like, hey, you owe me money, pay up.
Yeah, that's
Now it's like, okay, how do I know what to get, where to put it, and if it's going to be a good fit?
Yeah.
So it was that side of it that I was like, I like this. I actually like to think about stuff and fix, or I guess find solutions. So
Yeah.
it was interesting.
Do you remember the first thing that you were like? Did you actually? So you ended up acquiring stuff, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you remember like your first thing of like what you acquired? Is that how it works? Like you always remember your first or no?
I wouldn't say I remember the first PO that I wrote,
Mhm.
but I remember the first time that I spent $1 million in like an
That
hour.
seems memorable.
In an hour.
Yes. What were you buying in this spending spree here?
I think, if I recall correctly, it was just a lot of scissor lifts, a lot. So,
Okay.
but it was the first time ever that I was like, oh, so it is that easy to spend $1 million.
Yeah.
Like, I just did that before I went to lunch. Okay, that was interesting. So it kind of started opening my mind to like other things. So
yeah, but that sales rep was probably happy that day. They had a good lunch.
yeah, it didn't take me to lunch, but they
Yeah.
probably did. Yeah.
Okay. What else? What would you say was your favorite part of operations besides just having that opportunity to engage your whole thinking brain?
It was never the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I would say, similar to a degree, but every situation in one way or another was unique.
Yeah.
Are we doing this knowing that it might not be the best move dollars wise for this particular unit?
Yeah.
But is this unit going to now lead us to all of this ancillary stuff? So
Yeah.
like kind of going through those, steps, or hey, does it make sense to move this from this side of the country to this side of the country? And just it was always fleet related, but every single situation was different.
Yeah.
Like there was we would like to say there was always a story to it. Like, why is it that we want to do this?
Yeah.
What makes sense about it? What doesn't make sense about it? So it was that I really enjoyed. Like every day, it was just something different. So,
Okay, so you mentioned moving something from across, the country.
Mhm.
So you're doing national projects. Yes? No?
it is a
national
national company.
stuff?
Yeah, it
Okay.
is a national company. Probably the longest haul that I ever put together was probably, I think, if I recall correctly, from Utah to Florida.
That's a long one.
It was
Especially if you're driving it. That would make it much longer.
luckily it was before freight got ridiculously cost wise. But what was cool about that one was that it was actually a deal because NASA needed to rent this thing.
Okay, that's
So that was pretty cool.
yeah. You're
But,
like the story on this one is
yeah, like hey, NASA's asking for this.
Yeah.
We just we got this deal. Like make it happen.
so you're basically connect one step away from an astronaut. Really, if you think about it.
I would say a little bit more than that, but you know, if that door would have opened, I wouldn't have said no. I'll put it that way.
That would have been a weird,
Exactly.
funny coincidence.
Yeah, exactly.
This is how I became an astronaut.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did you find point of rental? Because you obviously are from Phoenix.
Mhm.
You were in Phoenix. You're still in Phoenix.
Am in Phoenix. Yep.
So
still-
how'd you find us?
So it was actually a former colleague who is a friend, I would say.
Mhm.
I hope he would say the same, but who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, he heard of the position that was open, and he reached out to me and he said, "Hey, look, this is the deal. You're going to be training people. Like, you just have to learn software." He felt like it was a really good fit for me just because of what I had done before, and where I was before. Unofficially, I would always, in one way or another, be the one who was tasked with bringing the new person up to speed.
Yeah.
So I wasn't a trainer, never held a trainer position, but more times than not, I was training somebody.
Yeah, you were a trainer, but no one was paying you to be a trainer.
Exactly. Exactly. So he was like, "Hey, you know what? I feel like this is going to be a really good fit." I looked into it, saw what you guys had to offer, and I said, "You know what? Yeah, let me check it out." Sent in my resume, started talking to Patrick.
Mhm.
That went from Patrick to Paul to going through the whole process, and luckily they took a shot on me, and I said, "All right, cool."
So what was it about training that appealed to you? I mean, obviously you had some experience in it, but it
Mhm.
seems like you must have actually liked being the person who was the unofficial trainer.
So at the time, and ironically, at the time, I was actually looking to try to step out of rental
Mm-hmm.
because at least where I was at that point in time in my career, I pretty much knew the roadmap ahead of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? I think I want to do just one more thing before I plant my flag for 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
And when this, approached me, I felt like it was a good fit because I had spent time at the job sites.
Mm-hmm.
I had spent time being the guy who rented the equipment. I had spent time, doing the back end office stuff, and then I had spent time doing the operation stuff. And I was like, I felt like software was just kind of closing the loop,
Mm-hmm.
like full picture.
Yeah.
Like this is what we want to see as a company. How does your tool help us do this?
Yeah.
And kind of building that bridge between the two.
Yeah.
And so far, it to me at least, I felt like it's been a good fit.
Good.
So
Yeah, I was going to say it seems like a good option for like also hedging your bets a little bit because it's like, well, I'm still rental adjacent, so I'm still keeping my skills sharp in case I do decide, I'm gonna go ahead and take that route. And it's like, all right, I'm still keeping my relationships up, keeping my rental knowledge, keeping my knowing what's going on in the industry type stuff going up.
pretty much that's a good way to put it because I was able to actually utilize the 8 years that I had under my belt. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, I can actually put to work what I've been building. So, from that end, yeah. But speak to any rental person, they'll tell you, I've tried to get out before and I just can't. You know,
Yeah, I was gonna
it's
say.
kind of like the running joke. Like,
Yeah.
once you're in, you're in.
Yeah. I thought I was out, but they keep pulling me back in.
Exactly.
Okay, so you started as an implementation specialist.
Correct.
And now as I read earlier, you're a consultant.
Correct. Yeah.
What is the difference between those two roles, really?
Now I get the opportunity to take the time to really dissect the ins and outs of a business.
Mm-hmm.
So it's no longer just, hey, here's what we can do with the software. It's more so, okay, yeah, here's what we can do with the software. But now it's also, something as simple as how are your trucks running? Like, where do you load? How do you load? Why are people running over each other? I get more time to actually dissect the business and take a full look from beginning to end.
Yeah.
And it's not just so much like writing a contract, inputting equipment. Now it's like, why are we writing the contract this way?
Yeah.
Why are we putting equipment in this way? It's more of the why and being able to help our customers become more efficient.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we all want to be efficient.
Yes.
So
yeah, I was going to say that sounds like it would appeal to someone who really liked the getting everything together and figuring it all.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
I can't. I would say I can't do repetitive stuff without getting bored easily.
Yeah. And I imagine every consulting gig is a completely new
They're
ball
all
of
different.
wax.
They're all different. Everybody has different goals, different metrics. So, but honestly, just coming from the industry itself and being on the other end, and just, I would say I understand.
Yeah.
Like I understand what they're trying to do. I understand what they're saying, and why it is that they're trying to do something. So
yeah,
it's definitely helped a lot.
I was going to say, I'm sure that's good for the people that are working with you as well to be like, all right, this guy gets me.
Yeah, exactly.
Good. So how did you become a consultant? Is it like a you are chosen thing, or was this like a thing where you heard that there was consulting going on and you're like, hey, that sounds interesting to me. Can you,
I was approached.
Okay.
I was approached. So, Sean taps me on the shoulder. He's like, hey, can I talk to you? Sat down, had a full-on conversation, pretty much, explained to me what it is he's doing, he's building, and I was like, you know what, that actually does sound like a pretty good fit for me.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, sure, let's give it a shot. So,
all right. And it's still going well. You
So
seem
far.
to be happy.
So
generally.
yeah, no, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. Sean's a great guy. He's great to work with. So so far everything. I mean, everybody's great to work with here, but at least now I'm actually spending more. Like before, I would go to him and ask him questions very sporadically, just because I know how much knowledge he has about point of rental.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's more of a like one-on-one dialogue. Like, so I'm learning quite a bit from him too. So
It's kind of like the difference just between like implementation and being there that once, and then like, maybe every once in a while you'll see him. And now it's like consulting where it's like, hey, there's a bit more of that relationship type thing.
correct. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I apologize in advance for not attending your classes during the international conference. I'm sure you were disappointed to not see me there, but I did hear feedback from people saying that your classes were great, even in your first year with the company, which I thought was pretty impressive. So you must be pretty good at and knowledgeable about whatever you're talking about. Do you have any tips in case I have to do a presentation?
Ask Wayne to go to a different one. So
Okay,
that was interesting. Being here for as long as I had been when I did my first one and very first class that I have, and next thing you know, Wayne walks in and just sits in the back and is just observing, and I'm like, oh, am I being graded or am I presenting this well? Am I not? So it was a little nerve wracking, but I got settled in. But yeah, I would say talk to Wayne and let him know. Go to that one.
Stay away. That's only going to make him want to attend more.
Exactly.
So,
I know.
I have to give him a more appealing class to attend.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go. Find a more appealing class to sell.
Okay, good. Thank you for that advice. I will definitely use it if I ever need to present. Before we get into your non-professional life, I want to play a game with you. We'll call it Cruzin or Bruisin. If you agree with the statement or it's true, say Cruzin.
Okay.
If you disagree with it or if it's not true, say Bruisin, and then I'm going to need a reason.
Okay.
So Cruzin or Bruisin, you've cried recently while watching a movie.
Cruising.
What movie got you?
Let's see, what was the last one? Man, I can't remember.
Or if there's like a particular genre.
Any dog movie, man. Marley and Me, A Dog's Purpose, like
Okay. So
anything related to dogs. I'm a dog guy. I
Okay.
love dogs, and I love my dogs. And any of those films, like they always pull at the strings, you know.
yeah, you don't want to think about that day for your dogs.
Exactly. Like
I
it
got
just
you.
they always pull at the strings. I'm just a sucker for dogs. Like
Okay. Cruzin or Bruisin, you've cheated at a board game.
cruising. So I have a younger brother.
Okay.
And obviously we would play board games together, and obviously we would do that. Hey, look over there. Or hey, mom's calling you.
Yeah.
You know, move a piece here and there.
Okay.
And so
Is this an exclusively like little brother thing, or is it a, if you were to play with anyone else, would you do the old, hey, look over there?
yeah, I'd probably give it a shot.
Okay.
I'd probably give it a shot. I don't think it would work
It's only cheating if
anymore.
you get caught, right?
Yeah, I don't think it would work anymore. I mean, we were younger back then, so
Yeah. Right now, if someone's falling for that one, then it's honestly their fault. Okay. Cruzin or Bruisin, you've told an outrageous lie to a child.
Oh. I don't know. That's dang, that's an interesting one. Okay. First thing that comes to my mind is Santa, but I'm like, that's not a bad thing though, you know.
I didn't say it was a bad one. I just said it was outrageous.
I would say Santa Claus. Then.
Okay. See, other episodes, people are like, ooh, I don't know if I want to say that one, just in case kids are watching. All right, Cruzin or Bruisin, your favorite fast food fries are from McDonald's.
Oh, that's bruising.
Okay, what's your top fry selection?
Oh man, I'm an In-N-Out guy, man.
Okay,
And I know I'm gonna get criticized for this, but I'm an In-N-Out guy. And
okay, so we just had an In-N-Out food truck, and they
Yes.
didn't have the fries. How did you feel about that?
I was bummed.
My
I
daughter
was-
was
I
also bummed because
I
she
was
actually likes their fries. And
Yes.
I don't like their fries really, but I don't think they're as bad as other people say. It's like they're okay. They're different, but they're okay.
And I don't think it was fair to have that question in here because this is like an ongoing debate between my wife and I all the time.
Oh, it is.
Because
huh?
she is a McDonald's fries are the best, and I keep telling her no, they're not. No, they're not. 12
This-
years into our relationship, 7 years married, and she's still like, no, McDonald's is the best, and I'm like, no, it's not. She
well,
still tries to force it on me.
I did chat with her before this, and that's why I'm asking this question now. Cruzin or Bruisin, you have an embarrassing nickname or a nickname that you hate.
Oh, definitely cruising. So my family is we get along pretty heavy.
Mhm.
There's really no way of translating this. I really can't say the nickname.
Okay,
It's not that it's bad.
you can say it in.
No, it's just I really can't find a translation for it.
You don't have to
that's
translate it to me.
But yeah, there is a nickname that I'm like why that one? But
Just say it. Gosh,
it loosely translates to
don't translate it. Just say it in.
in Spanish.
Yeah, I assume it's Spanish.
Yes, it is Spanish. I'll just say it loosely translates to like dog face, pretty much. Yeah. So
Yeah, that's always a fun one.
yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, before we get into your more personal questions, although those felt a little personal, let's take a little break.
At first, I was excited that people really started noticing me.
Looking good, Scotty.
Hey, Scott, where'd you get that shirt?
That shirt. Jeez. Hey, you been working out?
But now it's hard to not feel like a piece of meat sometimes. Yeah, no, so I'm just working on this profiles things for Salesforce, and I just don't know this. But dude, come on, my eyes are up here. The shirt is really nice though. I just wish people would stop obsessing over it. Hey, come on, man, not you too. All right, this interview's over.
Okay. Why do you have a smiley face tattoo?
I lost a bet, pretty much.
Okay. What? Tell me more about this bet.
No, it was just early 20s, hanging out with friends that are not good influences.
Yeah.
It was just one of those nights that you're just, early 20s hanging out, bar hopping, and next thing you know, you have a tattoo.
Okay. Like, is it just like a regular happy face, or
Yep.
is it like stylized or anything?
No, not style. It was just regular smiley face. Yeah.
Okay. Do you still have like fun memories, or does it still make you laugh that you have a smiley face tattoo?
Oh, it still makes me laugh. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Good. Well,
I will say this. I was fortunate enough that we were smart enough to downsize it from tramp stamp. So, because that was the original bet, and we just kind of
okay.
went downward, and luckily, it ended up with just a smiley face.
Wait, what was the original?
It was like a big tribal tattoo on your lower back.
Oh, okay.
So,
What were you guys betting about?
it was just drinking games, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, it was one of those nights, like just yeah.
Understandable. Well, good on you for following through at least, and living up to the bet. Let's talk sports. I remember when we talked for your introduction interview, the 4, that you mentioned that you were a sports fan.
Yes.
But I don't remember everything about it, and I didn't like prepare properly and go back and watch it. So I remember I thought you were a fan of all the Arizona teams except one, and I think that I remember it being the Cardinals. But
Yeah.
is that correct? Why?
I'm just I was raised as a Niner fan,
Okay.
so obviously I'm still sad,
Yeah.
But yeah, I was raised as a Niner fan. Even when we moved from California, my dad has been a Niner fan his whole life, and
Yeah.
I tagged along. And funny enough, my nephew now is also has declared that he is a Niner fan. To which that's a whole other story. But now my dad and I just kind of give my little brother the side eye, like, "Ha, told you,"
Yeah.
because we all kind of had this ongoing argument of like, no, he's going to go this way, no, he's going to go this way, no, he's going to go this way, and now we know. So
I'm picturing him like having a version of like, how they have gender reveal for babies. He's like a team reveal. He's like, all right, I've chosen my team.
it was. I wish it would have gone down that way. That would have been pretty cool. But so I would say the compromise for all of us. So my brother and his wife and everybody. The compromise was that my mom made him a pillow with all 4 teams that we were trying to direct them toward.
Mhm.
But obviously now we know which one. So
What were the other 3 teams now?
it was the Steelers,
Okay.
the Broncos,
Okay.
and unfortunately the Cowboys.
I was going to say that checks out for my knowledge of like Arizona sports in general. It's like there's a lot of people from those fan bases specifically.
Oh, there's a huge Steelers fan base in Arizona.
Yeah. Especially from the era where like it seemed like every Cardinals person, free agent, whatever, came from the Steelers or coaching. There's like that whole, it was, Larry Fitzgerald was from Pittsburgh,
Mhm.
even though he wasn't a Steeler or anything. Okay. Well, that seems understandable. You're also maybe a fan of Ted Lasso.
I would.
You didn't really fill out the whole form correctly for me.
Yes,
you just
I
wrote Ted Lasso somewhere on there, and I was
Yes,
like, all right,
and
let's
then-
talk about it.
I guess I didn't understand the assignment.
Yes.
I'll put it that way.
That's
but no, yeah, I would say I'm a huge fan of Ted Lasso.
Okay, so why did you get
Which-
into that?
I felt that the storytelling
Mhm.
was amazing. The character arcs were very well done. And even though it's a comedy more times than not,
Yeah.
it really does hold quite a bit of life lessons in it. And I was glad that they actually stuck to 3 seasons.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they didn't try to milk it and then just ruin it as they typically do. So
Well, I mean, you got to keep milking that cash cow as long as you can, right?
yeah, look at Marvel.
Yeah.
Which is a whole other situation. But yeah, no, what the ironic part is that I'm not a soccer fan.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering is how did you get into it? Because I don't think you were mentioned being a soccer fan. So.
Nope. so I'm not a soccer fan. The times that I will watch soccer are either the World Cup or I get invited to the local team there in Phoenix, the Phoenix Rising, to which they just actually won a championship. So that was pretty cool.
Well, if you guys are going to win championships, fine, I'll go.
I was going before that, but
Okay.
yes. Uh, but yeah, I would say it to me, and I remember it from the commercial, like when they had introduced the Ted Lasso character. And then
Yeah.
when I heard that they were actually making it into a show, I was like, this is interesting.
Okay.
So
So you didn't
that's-
have that initial mindset of, this is so stupid. They're making a thing off a commercial. Come on, man.
No, I was
You're like,
actually
okay.
surprised. Plus I mean, the story itself, it sounds entertaining.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna take a coach from a totally different sport,
Yeah.
and have him coach a professional team that he's never had anything to do with at any level. And I'm like, that just sounds like a disaster. Let me watch this.
I was going to say, it sounds sort of like a disaster, and then you can sort of rationalize it because it's like, well, if you're a manager or you're like a leader in whatever industry, that usually translates pretty okay to other industries, as long as you have the ability to understand, or, you transfer your knowledge from rental, and it's like, yeah, I can learn the software and I can still, I don't have to be a software expert to come over here and do that type of thing.
Yeah. But,
That-
going back to the point that I was saying, like, Ted Lasso does have quite a bit of life lessons in it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
Now we need to have that happen in real life. And
I would be interested in that.
come on,
That
just try it.
just give it a shot, right?
Yeah, my bad thing is I got into that and Welcome to Wrexham like at the same time, and then sometimes I'll like forget. It's like, wait, oh no, that person's not an actual soccer player.
So I've been told to watch that, and I have yet to do so.
Yeah,
So
I don't know. I think I like the idea more than, I don't know. It's harder now because after that first bit, you can kind of, see what happens in real life.
Mhm.
And then it's obviously a year behind as far as like the season comes out after the year. And it's like, well, I already know what happened now. It was really cool the first time when I had no idea. And I was like, I can say
what it was, yeah.
Yeah. So it's definitely interesting. It's also more interesting in that it's like, oh, this is real and like an actual thing. Plus, I also like, It's Always Sunny, and I like Ryan Reynolds too. So it's like, all right, well, I like those celebrities. I'll go check that out.
Oh yeah, I've watched Always Sunny in Philadelphia one too many times.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we need to talk about your radio career. I heard it lasted one day because you mentioned when we came in here, you talked about the microphone, and you're like, it's been a long time.
So I don't recall the exact details, but somehow I ended up I was just standing by, and this was local, so no,
Mhm.
like I don't even think it was regional, like it was just local. And I was just standing by, and they were like, "Hey, come here, sit down," speaking to the mic, and luckily it only lasted a day because I had no idea. They kind of prepped me a little bit.
So was this an actual radio station? Was this like during your temp phase, and then you just like were
No,
just
it
hanging
was
around? Or what?
it was an AM station there,
Mhm.
so it was an actual radio station. Like I said, it was interesting how I just kind of like, hey, come here, sit down. Like,
And it's like the people that are running the station, or it's just like random people throughout the office are like, let's taste the new guy, and
and that was the thing. I didn't even work there. Like I was just standing by. I happened to be just hanging out with somebody.
okay.
So
So what were you doing? Were you just like,
no, I was just, we were supposed to go grab lunch. So
well, no, I'm wondering like when you when they tell you to be on the air,
so
are you like, hey guys?
yeah, no, it was just, like an open conversation and asking questions and like, hey, what do you think about this? And it was
Okay.
just, it was interesting, but obviously there's a reason why I'm here.
Okay.
It didn't lead anywhere.
All right. Well,
So
maybe that can be a next future for you, or maybe a side thing.
maybe we'll see.
Okay. What's something that people misunderstand about you?
I am secretly an introvert.
Okay.
A lot of people think that I am an extrovert to a certain extent.
Mhm.
I don't shy away from meeting people or talking to people, but if you gave me a choice between you know, being on my own a little bit and not having to, I guess, have to converse with so many people.
Yeah.
I would definitely prefer that. Go play a video game or go learn something new than having to be speaking all the time, which ironically, that's what I do. So
Yeah, I was going to say thank you for being willing to join today. I know it's been a rough few days for us introverts of like, oh my God, I'm so tired.
But yeah, and that, that's the thing. It was actually one of those skills that I had to develop.
Mhm.
I would say, like, I had to develop that skill. It was not a natural skill.
Yeah.
So, but so far it's working out.
Good. Well, I'm glad it's working out for you. Do you have any questions for me? You only get exactly one question of me. I get to ask most of the questions.
Let's see. If your life could be a movie, which movie would it be?
Oh gosh. I don't watch enough movies to have a good answer for you. But I'll go with my favorite movie of all time, which is Wayne's World. I just kind of like the very low actual stakes of it, and like it's very chill, and they're having a good time most of it. And I don't know, it seems generally pretty fun, but I don't want to. It's there's no actual like danger or horrible things that are going to happen to anyone. But,
Yeah, it's not Interstellar.
yeah, I definitely don't want that one.
So yeah, I see. Okay.
All right, did you have an answer for that?
Oof. Actually, I did not, but
I never ask it back to the other
yeah, I know
person,
this is interesting
Sorry.
because I've watched some of the other interviews and I was like,
Yeah.
hey, they never got. I don't know. That's my favorite movie is The Matrix. Definitely don't want to say that because then that's going to open a whole other conversation.
Okay.
Like, is this a simulation? Is it
Oh,
not
sorry.
a simulation?
We're getting into that one next. but,
Exactly.
okay.
Exactly. And and yeah. So yeah.
It'd be cool to have those powers, I guess.
Yeah. But I guess.
But the rest of it, yeah.
Let's go Disney here. Let's go Cars.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. That one was a good one. I think talk about like crying movies. It's like I don't think it made me cry. I think that's like the one Pixar movie that's like it's not that bad. But when like Hudson Hornet shows up, it's like, oh, he was a softie. Oh, he was there. He did like him. Okay, before we go into the 5 important questions, I need you to give me a top 5 list in a segment we'll call Gimme 5. Now, again, you gave a bunch of random lists. You get to choose a topic. I was thinking that you would go with your top 5 conspiracy theories because you had that somewhere on our notes. And I was like, okay, we could go conspiracy theories you actually believe, conspiracy theories that you think are amazing and hilarious, conspiracy theories that, you find to be most impactful, or whatever direction you want to go with that, or you can make up your own.
I don't know. I guess we could go back to the TV shows really because I do enjoy film. Like I enjoy the storytelling. And what people get surprised about, I would say, is when they find out that I'm into like anime and cartoons, and like I would say if I had to go with like TV shows and cartoons, that would probably be like a good topic there.
Okay, let's do a top 5 list of your top 5 favorite TV shows of all time. Okay.
Okay.
Now I'm gonna give some rules so you have a little bit of time to think about it. Now, with top 5 lists, you start at number 5 and you work your way up to number 1. So don't start with your number 1 because no one wants to hear the rest of the list after you got your number 1. So
Sounds good.
okay, your number 5 favorite TV show of all time is what?
Let's see. Top number 5. Gosh, there's such a. I would go with Game of Thrones as number 5
Okay.
because of season 8.
Okay, it would have been higher on the list,
Yes.
but you had to bump it down.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, you have to. I'm sorry,
Okay.
but that
Yeah.
last season was terrible.
Okay.
I'll say it.
All right. Well, we'll let them know. Your number 4 favorite movie or TV show of all time.
I'm gonna go with SpongeBob there.
Okay. Why SpongeBob?
Just a fun show.
Okay.
It's a fun show, man. I've been watching it since I was a kid. Until this day, I still watch it.
Okay. You need to have a fun show on your list after Game of Thrones. Not quite as
Yeah,
lighthearted as.
yeah. I don't need to think, and I don't need to worry about somebody getting burned by a dragon. It's just fun.
That'd be yeah. Number 3.
Number 3, I would say. I have been enjoying For All Mankind.
Okay. What? Tell me more about For All Mankind.
That's that Astronaut TV show from Apple TV. So
Okay.
It's interesting to think of what history would have been if things happened differently, which kind of ties back to conspiracy theories, right?
Okay.
Like,
so it's kind of like a alternate timeline type thing.
Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
That sounds interesting. Okay. Maybe I'll
It's
check that out.
what would have happened to the world if Russia got to the moon first. Is pretty much the premise of the show.
Okay. That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Number 2.
And this is gonna be, I would say, Avatar: The Last Airbender,
Okay.
but the actual show, not the movie.
Yeah. I
And
mean, we're talking
not-
TV shows here. We're not
and
talking
not
movies.
the live action one.
Okay. So just anime.
Yes.
Okay. Why is that one up there?
It once again it holds some interesting life lessons.
Okay.
Like, even though it's a cartoon, like, and it's a cool, fun show to watch.
Yeah.
Like, what would life be like if people could actually bend elements?
Yeah.
Like, I wonder, there wouldn't be need for so much equipment, unfortunately.
That's true. You're like, man, really taking away jobs from these people.
Exactly.
Okay. And your number 1 favorite TV show of all time is?
So far, I have to say Ted Lasso. Like, that's just, it's solid. It's across the board. I mean, it's from beginning to end. Like, you love characters, then you hate characters, and you love characters, and it was just very well done. Like, from I would say from every aspect. And
All right. Who's the character you most loved, then hated, then loved?
it's Nate. Come on, like that one's too easy.
That one's fair. Okay.
That
Who's the
one's too
one
easy.
that you most hated, then loved, then hated?
I
I was going to say, I don't know about that one.
probably Jamie.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know that I re-hated him.
But that one,
I think
but
it's
that
just
one
like
didn't
you
end
hate
in
him.
hate. Yeah, that one didn't end in hate. But Jamie was one of those, like,
Yeah. Can relate. That's like the main person that I think of. It's like, oh yeah, he's not an actual player. I need to remember that.
Okay.
Okay. Let's do one more thing before we go to the 5 important questions. Let's do a thing called first pitch. You need to start a rental business within a month. You don't have a whole ton of funding, but you have enough to like get it off the ground, let's say. So you don't have to worry about that. And you can't necessarily do like market research. You're just going to do whatever you can think of out there in Phoenix. What rental business are you starting? What niches are you in?
Jeez. I mean, the safe answer is equipment. I know it.
Yeah.
I
was going to say, it feels like you have an easier.
Yeah, like the safe answer is like equipment. Like, I know the back end stuff. I know the front end stuff. So like from an operational perspective and from a confidence perspective, I just feel pretty good with equipment.
Yeah.
But if I had to go a different avenue, I'm not sure. I would think something a little different.
Okay.
I just don't know what, like, but I would try to diverse a little bit there.
Yeah. You don't want to just do the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I would try to diverse. I just don't know into what, because it seems like everything is already rentable.
Yeah. It seems like what you're really trying to do is prevent someone from taking your idea and doing it before you do it.
No, not so much. I think it's more so like The Simpsons did it.
Yeah. Okay.
The Simpsons did it. Like, it's already been thought of. Like, come up with something original.
Renting associated with The Simpsons. Let's think through this. All right. We'll take a break and then we'll get into the 5 important questions.
5 important questions. 5 important questions? 5 important questions.
Number 1, what would you say is your greatest success in life?
I don't feel like I've had it yet.
Okay. That's interesting. No one's.
I don't feel like I've had that Mount Everest top moment yet.
Okay, so
I'm still scaling it.
You're holding back that award for like it's gonna come soon.
Like I know it will. I just if like if I had to really go through it right now, I don't like. I've had good moments in my life and I've had good
Yeah.
moments in my career, but I don't think I've had that Mount Everest moment just yet.
Okay. What is your greatest fear?
I'm not a fan of spiders.
I didn't say whether you are a fan of things. I said, what's your greatest fear?
No. Uh, gosh, just I'd probably say like not being able to see my family.
Yeah.
You know, if I was in a situation that I just did not have access to them to at least talk to them, yeah, that would be pretty scary.
Yeah, I was gonna say they seem like they play a pretty big role in your life. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
okay, if you could tell first day at Point of Rental Luis one piece of advice, what would you tell him?
I would go with that like Ricky Bobby quote, "Buckle up, it's gonna get bumpy."
Okay,
You know,
you got a specific story associated with this?
not necessarily a specific story. It's just the software itself can do so much.
Mhm.
It's like, where do I start?
Yeah,
You know, like
yeah.
it's just so much to take in.
it's like that gigantic meal. It's like, all right, what do I don't even know how to.
Exactly. You know,
Yeah.
I got this 6 foot long sub. Like,
Yeah.
where do I start? Do I start at this end? Do I start at this end? Do I start it in the middle? Like, where do I go?
Yep.
So yeah, I would say that just buckle up, and it's gonna be a little bumpy.
All right. What is your most embarrassing moment as a pointer? I mean, it seems like you had at least a bumpy moment. So
Most embarrassing so far, and I say so far because
Yeah.
you know,
there's always that opportunity.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I would say so far, singing karaoke last year in front of everybody. I'm not a karaoke person.
Yeah.
What
What was your song?
It was Smash Mouth actually.
Okay.
I went with an easy one. I'm
Yeah.
like, if I'm gonna do this, let me do one that like everybody knows, so I don't have to do all of it.
Okay. So you leaned on the like performing aspect of it rather than the trying to sing it perfectly.
I would say so.
Okay. I mean, that's a wise move.
Yeah, because I'm not a karaoke person, but everybody was doing karaoke. It was a team thing. I was like, all right, I will.
At least you didn't end up with the tattoo this time.
Yes.
I'm sorry you've been sentenced to death as now singing Smash Mouth in karaoke and not doing it well is now a capital offense. What is your last meal and why?
Ooh. Gosh. Last meal, I guess I would say my wife's chicken green enchiladas.
Sounds pretty good. You got any sides or a drink?
Well, with enchiladas, you have to go with Coke,
Okay.
like an ice cold Coke,
Okay.
and chicken green chili enchiladas, like just with all the toppings.
All right. Anything for dessert?
Ooh, cheesecake.
All right. That sounds pretty filling and a good way to go out. If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be?
Is this plausible or
It's whatever
I be?
It's literally
can
you
I-
can snap at anything.
So this is like I'm
This is some
I have a
genie
genie,
stuff.
right?
Yeah.
I have a genie.
Yeah.
To be able to run a 440.
All right. See, that's what I was thinking. Is like everyone always goes with these serious answers, and it's like you could give yourself superpowers right now.
Oh, if we're going superpowers, teleportation.
Okay.
Teleportation. Like, come on, be anywhere at any time. Snap of a finger.
But then what if it becomes like it's like one of those things where it's like I want that, but I want no one else to know that I have that ability because then they'll expect things
Oh,
of
of
me.
course, yes. Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
that's staying on the down low. Yeah.
Okay. If you could change one thing at Point of Rental, what would it be? Again, this is like a genie type thing where it's like a superpower and it can be instant.
Oh, plug me in like the Matrix and download all the knowledge within seconds. Like,
All right. What is your biggest pet peeve?
people using improper grammar in text.
Okay.
It's I would say it's a two-parter there.
Okay.
Like improper grammar and punctuation, but then also people that will send you one message and then a second and then a third and then a fourth and then a fifth.
Mm-hmm.
But it could have all been in one.
Yeah.
I'm like, why
it's
didn't
not
you
like
just-
they're refreshing it or anything.
Yeah,
it's
no,
just
like-
like
why not
finish the
just-
sentence.
Yes, exactly. Finish your thought.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I'm sure I'm gonna get some feedback on that. So
Yeah, I was gonna say now these people will know that they're annoying you.
yeah, for those that have my personal number now, I wouldn't be surprised if.
Well, hopefully it results in a change of their actions and they're more accommodating towards you. Although based on your other things with your family, it doesn't seem like that's the way it's going to go for you. So
Not so much. No.
sorry. Tell me a secret about point of rental.
I don't have one yet.
Okay, well, find one and then
I will have to go. I guess looking for one. 'Cause-
Okay, it'll be a national treasure type situation with point of rental, and you can do this whole.
I guess I'll have to take the original Point of Rental logo down from the wall and see if there's a map in the back or something.
Might be, but I also have a point of rental logo somewhere else.
Okay, well, there you go.
Thank you, Luis, for chatting today.
Well, thanks for having me on. This is taking me out of my comfort zone a little bit.
Well, I appreciate you being willing to venture outside of the comfort zone and deal with your past demons of radio.
yeah, my very, very short career.
Yes. Thank you also to Andrew Sherrington and Daria Tucker for the work they do behind the scenes. And to everyone that made it to this point with us, thank you for joining us. Please rate, subscribe, review, share us with a friend. Help me talk to more people like Luis, and we'll leave the porch light burning for you.